Hi, this is a presentation of how to configure EIGRP when you're using IP version 4. So, if we use this topology and we want to set up an EIGRP routing domain, what we need to do is to set up the use of the EIGRP as the routing protocol on all of the three routers here. First of all, what you do is you go into the routing mode by saying router and then EIGRP, and then you need a number. And this number is not like the process ID on OSPF, it is the autonomous system. And it's not the same as the autonomous system that is used by Anna. So this is just to implement the EIGRP routing domain. So the autonomous system must be the same on all of our routers. Because then again we can have and use the border gateway protocol to work between autonomous systems. This is what we are using when we are using IANA, and we're using the number, autonomous system number in that sense. But here in the EIGRP, it's just like the area in a single area OSPF. We need to have the same autonomous system number on all of our routers. So for instance, we choose number 1, and then we say router EIGRP number 1. Then in EIGRP, we can also set up the router ID. It doesn't really have that significance as in OSPF, but we can do it, and if we don't do it, then a router ID will be calculated automatically. But of course, we can say EIGRP router ID, and this is an IP version 4 address that we set up, for instance, 1.1.1.1 or 2.2.2.2 or whatever. If we don't do that, it will choose an IP address that's already configured, and it will use the highest overall loopback address that we have set, if we have set a loopback. If not, it will use the highest overall IP address as the router ID. Yeah. Then we need to specify on which networks we want the EIGRP to work. So which network should be included in their updates, and where should I also send the updates to? And we use the network command and then the classful network. This will automatically cover all the subnets that we have. If we don't have any special needs, well, then we don't have to put in, for instance, the wildcard mask to specify, for instance, a subnet. So what we do here, for instance, if we have the network 172.16.0.0, that is by default a class B, so it's the classful subnet mask is then /16, and this will cover, for instance, if I have an interface called on the network 172.16.1.0/24 and 172.16.3.0/30, for instance. So it's a simple way of setting up all the different subnets. And I can see my neighboring routers and also see how the changes has been made by setting up the EIGRP log neighbor changes. Then I can see whatever that has been changed. I don't know why that popped up now, because in the network command, if I want to specify only a specific network that I want to advertise and use EIGRP for, well, then I can put in the wildcard mask as in OSPF. And the wildcard mask is the opposite, the inverse of the subnet mask, like in OSPF. I can, of course, also configure the passive interfaces if I want them to be a part of the updates but not really want to send routing information through the interface. Well, then I can go in and say passive interface, and then, for instance, fast Ethernet 00, whatever. To verify that I've set it up, I can use different commands. I can use, for instance, the show IP EIGRP neighbors to see my neighboring routers, their IP addresses, which interface, how long I've known them, and yeah, statistics of how they are working. I can, of course, also use the show IP protocols. Then I will say that my routing protocol now is EIGRP, my router ID, my administrative distance. EIGRP has a lower administrative distance than OSPF. OSPF has 110 and EIGRP has 90, which means that it will be preferred by over OSPF. Because it will always choose the one with the lowest administrative distance. The external value here is 170, which means that I have a default route or something that I advertise with my not OSPF, EIGRP updates. They have an AD of 170. Yeah, and it says also that auto summary has been disabled, for instance. We'll all come to that later on. And then I can see my routers. And of course, also if I do a show IP route, I will see my information coming from EIGRP, and that has a D in front of it. Obviously, E has been used already, so D indicates that this is an EIGRP route. Yeah, and that was how to set it up. Thank you.